And big-headed Gryffindor.
Hufflepuffs value kindness. Also we value snacks.
Slytherins value power and cleverness, and historically also bigotry and racism and classism and... But it's more complicated than that.
Well, we are a prequel to the Harry Potter story, so we're set in 1942, so Harry and those characters have not yet been born, and we are a bit of an origin story of how Tom Riddle became Lord Voldemort.
And it's very different from what we know in the books because it's a parody, it's a musical, and it's a comedy, which we don't see. So what was it like as actors kind of adapting that and taking on those roles?
I think it's kind of quite an interesting sort of balance. I mean, like, I think there's a little mystery plot in there as well. So there's kind of something that does sort of pay homage to, like, the way the original stories work, which I think is really nice. I think people have kind of really responded to that side of it as well, which is fun. But I think there are so many kind of little pointers from that J.K. Rowling wizarding world that we can kind of pick up on. There are lots of little jokes to be made, like whether it's about the paintings that you're constantly surrounded by that come to life, or I don't know. But there's all sorts that you can kind of pick up on and like find little gags to tease out in there, which is really fun.
Now, Katerina, you play the role of Genevieve.
Yeah.
Is this Genevieve as in Ginny Weasley or not?
No, so this is Genevieve Gryffindor, so she's a descendant of Godric Gryffindor, and she's like the token mean girl of the show. Yeah, she's a character.
So I play a 17 or 16-year-old Hagrid. He's a student at Hogwarts in our production, and so you get to see a little bit more of what he was like as an awkward teen.
And Stephen, you've taken on the big role of Tom Riddle, who then transforms into He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yes.
What do we know of Tom in that time?
I think at this stage he's already like trying to work out. He wants to become the most powerful wizard of all time. That's what he's all about. But I think the interesting thing about this little story is we kind of introduce a Hufflepuff love interest.
Oh.
So it's like, what if, like, what if things had worked out differently for him? But then it does turn into kind of a fun take on sort of the origins tale as well. So it's sort of like where does the biggest power lie is kind of like what he's all about. But it's kind of quite fun bringing that sort of like emo teen kind of level into it as well.
As actors, are there any sort of pressures or challenges to taking on roles like this that are so iconic and that everyone knows and loves so much?
Being one of the Americans in the cast, the accent was definitely a bit terrifying. This is my second year doing the show. I was in the cast last year as well. And last year the cast was wholly American, and we actually had a few jokes in the show about our accents purposely being terrible. Now that we've cast several locals in the cast, those lines have been removed, and so my accent had to be a bit more on point. So that's been a bit challenging and scary. You sort
of pay the homage where you can, but also like people accept that it's a parody that you're sort of having a bit of fun with. But like I quite enjoyed like before we started rehearsals and everything, watching bits of the films, and kind of I did lots of cribbing of Ralph Fiennes' wand work, which I got quite into. It's quite fun.